Hello there. According to HMRC, the PM's customs partnership plans are unviable. So according to HMRC, you know, the people that know a thing about tariffs and taxes, the customs partnership plans of Theresa May, or is that Olly Robbins, where the UK collects money on behalf of the EU, is incredibly complicated and for the birds. The problem with the idea of a customs partnership is that all imports into the UK would have to be charged the EU Common External Tariff, and the importer would only get a rebate if the items stayed in the UK. Just think about the complexity of that for a moment. Now that this has been rubbished by HMRC, let's hope it does get the real last rites read over it this time and buried as deeply as possible, even out of the reach of Olly Robbins. This brings the Maximum Facilitation, or Max Fac, option to the fore, something that the FT says business prefers, which uses a high-tech approach and trusted trader schemes to avoid the need for a hard border. But while Remainers busy themselves trying to put obstacles in the way of Brexit, others have been quietly beavering away in the background to make it work. This snippet is in response to the Remainer fearmongering about clogged ports post-Brexit. According to the FT, the new chairman of the UK's major ports group, Charles Hammond, said yesterday that our container ports are ready to cope with the UK exit from the EU, whatever trading arrangements are put in place. As an industry, we're ready and prepared, he said. More positive news and great to hear. But I expect the Remainers to now grasp at the ludicrous claims by the UN Special Rapporteur on Racism, Tendai Akiyumi, that the UK laws on austerity, terrorism and immigration are racist. And further, the claim is that the Brexit vote has made racism and religious intolerance more acceptable in the UK. Racism and religious intolerance has become more acceptable in Britain in the wake of the Brexit referendum, a United Nations expert has warned, reports The Independent. So, here we have one of the world's most welcoming countries, the UK, which I will add more and more people are trying to get into every single day of every single year, being held up as a symbol of hate and intolerance, while our population increases at an uncontrollable rate purely down to net immigration, which places a massive stress on housing and infrastructure, and the poor old Brits get lectured on their non-existent hatefulness and bigotry, but get no thanks for the £13 billion a year plus we hand out in foreign aid or for all the charitable work that goes on. Now, those insults are not going to go down well with ordinary hard-pressed UK citizens, except, of course, for those self-flagellating anti-Brexit social justice warriors. There are places far more suited to a visit by the UN rapporteur than a UK full of generally law-abiding people who do not go around maiming and slaughtering each other all the time. I would urge her to start by visiting the countries that those people seeking refuge in the UK originate from, because they must by definition be worse countries than the UK. But methinks that would throw up too many awkward non-PC, off-narrative questions and end up being far too difficult to do anything about, and no doubt dangerous. Far easier to just lecture Brits. This visit and the words used by her against the good British people are more likely to put backs up than help anything. I'm with the chairman of the all-party campaign group on anti-Semitism, the Labour MP John Mann, on this, when he told the Mail that this was an ignorant and foolish claim which has literally no basis in fact, quite extraordinary buffoonery. Well said. Now, when the Remoaners start waffling on about the old voting Brexit because they're too thick to know what's going on, I always have to remind them that it was today's old people that voted back in 1975 to remain in the EC when they were young. And that's a point we need to keep hammering home, and a point that Remoaners seem too obtuse to understand or want to acknowledge. I did a video about it back in September last year, pointing out that 1975's voters had changed their minds. And as Robin Dunbar says in a piece for Briefings for Brexit, mention of the original 1975 referendum reminds me that the one question I have never heard asked in the torrent of verbiage since June 2016 is why a generation that voted 67 to 33 to join the European community in 1975 voted by the reverse proportion to leave 40 years later. Those voters in 1975 who were supposedly so much less travelled, less educated and less knowledgeable than those of today voted to stay in the European community, even though there was no such thing as social media back then. But they changed their minds in the intervening years and, instead of throwing abuse at them, the young Remainers of today should maybe try to understand what made them change their minds. They might learn something other than the pro-EU educational establishment one-sided view they've been spoon-fed all these years. Finally, a big debate is scheduled for Saturday the 9th of June on the future of democracy in the UK. It is a cross-party event and will cover topics like proportional representation, the House of Lords and a Parliament for England. I'll bring you more details in the coming days, but keep that diary clear. So please let us all know what you think by leaving a comment below, but please also don't forget to share this video across Facebook, Twitter and by email using the tools below. Thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.